guys, Sherry Fox here with What the Fox. Spring and summer is here. And if you're like me, you love your solar lighting. But how many of you have some solar lights that kind of look about like this? Unfortunately, when we leave these out in the weather, they will get a white residue, and it just doesn't allow these solar lights to work to their full potential. So today I'm going to show you how to clean and restore these. But the method we're going to be using today is not a new method. It has actually already been proven to work on plastic headlights. We're just going to apply it to a different project. Let's get started. Now all you're going to need to do this is just get yourself a couple of rags. You want a spray bottle. This just has water in it. Going to need some alcohol, maybe some cotton balls, but these are just a couple of cotton rounds. You're going to need some clear coat. Now make sure in this clear coat it says non-yellowing and UV resistant. Get yourself some painter's tape. This is the wide painter's tape, but the smaller, skinnier painter tape, that will work too. Get yourself a sponge. And then we're going to need a couple of different kinds of sandpaper. Get yourself a 400 grit and a 2000 grit. But definitely make sure that it says wet or dry. So next, let's just get the solar light itself, and let's just go ahead and twist the top off. Lay it down. And you want to get yourself a pencil, and then let's get some heavy paper. Let's go ahead and let's just fold this paper in half. And we're just going to lay it about halfway on this, and as you see, this is round. Now, if your solar light happens to be square, you can just measure, trace out a square, and then you can cut it out. But this one's round, so just an easy way to do it is let's just lay it down because you can feel the indention of this solar light. So we're just going to mark it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trace this indention. And guys, this doesn't have to be perfect. Just don't let the paper move, but it does not have to be perfect. And let's just trace that out. Go ahead and get yourself some scissors and cut out either your circle or your square. And like I said, guys, it does not have to be perfect, and I'm gonna show you why in just a second. Next, let's just use a little soap and water, and we're gonna clean the dirt and debris off the solar light itself. Now, if you decide to use the scrubby side, just use light pressure so you don't damage the solar cell. Now, when rinsing, you want to be extremely careful and not get water underneath the light, because that is where the battery and the components are. Now, this is the original battery that came with the actual solar light, but it still seems to be working, so I'm not going to change it. But if you do need to change your battery, just make sure and get a solar battery. Do not try to put a regular battery or a rechargeable battery in this, because you can damage the light. Now this is going to be a good time to go ahead and clean the rest of the solar light as well. Now let's just take our painter's tape and let's go all the way around the solar panel. If you have a round solar panel like this one, shorter pieces are probably going to work better for you. And this is just going to ensure that the metal of the solar light doesn't get scuffed up when we perform the next steps. Now, the next thing we want to do is we're just going to rip off a couple of pieces of our sandpaper. We have our 2000 and we have our 400. And get your spray bottle, and what you want to do is you want to wet everything down. Even spray your sandpaper. Now let's go ahead and start with a 400 grit. And all we're going to do is we're just lightly going to scrub this. Very little pressure is all you want to put on this, because all we're doing is, as you can see as this is running down, we're just taking the grime off of this and the clear coat. So you don't want to use a lot of pressure. And if it gets dry, just spray it with water. You want to make sure this is staying very wet. And then after you get done with the 400, then let's go ahead and we're going to use the 2000. And again, guys, you want to use very little pressure and make sure the solar cell and the sandpaper stays wet. And as you can see, we can already see the solar cell. Now let's just wipe it with a little alcohol. This will help it dry, but it will also ensure that we have removed any dirt and debris that may be left. Now let's grab our heavy paper with the cutout in it. Let's place it over the light. Now remember when I said the cutout did not have to be perfect? This is why, because we already have the painter's tape. We're only using this template to protect the rest of the light from the overspray.
And you don't want to get too close. You don't want to spray up close. You want to come back with your spray can and just do a light coat and maybe do 2 or 3 coats.
Just remember, let each coat dry before applying another coat, and do not spray this in direct sunlight. The solar panel gets too hot and it won't dry correctly. Now let's just remove our painter's tape. You may find some water underneath the painter's tape. That's okay, just wipe it off. And there may be a few imperfections around the edge of the solar panel, but overall, I'm completely satisfied with this. Now let's go ahead and just place our solar light back into the ground. And for those of you that just want to kick them up a notch, you can wipe them down with some WD-40. It will make them look amazing. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back because you have now just successfully restored your solar lights. As my grandmother used to say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. In other words, I can give you all the tools in the world to do these projects, but until you get up and do them, they're not going to get done. So get up, get moving, and keep creating. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, or at least found it useful. If so, smash that like button for me. And can I encourage you to subscribe? I would greatly appreciate it. But when you do, don't forget to click that little bell. That way, when I upload new videos, you'll be the first to know. This is Sherry saying you guys can easily do this. Thanks again, guys, for tuning into What the Fox. Until next time, take care.